People, this is the Seattle Seahawks podcast with a heavy dosage of X's and O's. We're going to be looking at a film of Sataoa Laumea. Griff, did I get that right this time?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be good with that. Now, Axel in the chat saying, Matty, make your coffee brew quicker. This was a sandwich, not coffee, so apologies. I also forgot to do the coffee video. Damn it. And also Thursday, guys, we'll be slightly earlier, maybe. And we're going to look at the Seahawks OTAs because there's some great press conferences which came out from Jay Harbaugh, but in particular, Ryan Grubbs one stood out. We also heard from Adam Dirty. So like an OTA type recap. But yeah, we got Laumea up tonight. He's going to finish off our look at the 2024 Seahawks draft class, where we've had a look at all the tape of the players. We haven't got Findlay D2 All-22, so reach out. We're still looking for it. Thank you, those of you who have made the rest of the tape possible. You know who you are. Griff, before that, do you have any preamble topics? We've been speaking, not to leave the chat out, but we've been talking a bit before.
Yeah, the reason why we were late this time was because we were having a little chit chat about the world and philosophy and metaphysics and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Matty, there was some drama online today, but the pronunciation of some words.
Oh, that's new. That never happens on Twitter.
And we like to get into our etymology here. So I'm going to put a word in the private chat, and I want you to pronounce it.
Oh, great! I'm the performing Brit.
Yeah. Well, I'll pronounce it.
Oh, this one f's me off big time, majorly. I hate the other one. Let me put this in the chat for you. This one, really? What is wrong with you guys?
Okay, hold up. Okay, I pronounced that click.
Yeah, that's so messed up.
Oh, really? Okay, wait.
Yeah, it's clique.
Clique. Okay.
Yeah.
And I took French. Just francophone, but I still call that
sounded like you're from the bayou.
I sound like oh my god, that video of Ed Orgeron speaking French. Parlez-vous français?
Yeah, so good. And he talks to his mom as well, right?
That's
so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever seen that YouTuber who goes to like different American communities? I forget his name. Anyway, he went to the bayou and spoke to some Cajuns. It was amazing.
Who? Flavor Town?
No. He's like I think he's called. I can't remember. Anyway, he's bald. That narrows it down.
Yeah. That sure does.
Big YouTuber. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways.
The first word I say niche.
Yeah, I say niche too. I don't say niche. I say niche.
What? Really?
I say niche. Yeah.
Oh, that's great news. So how come you don't say clique?
I don't know. I don't really use that word very often.
Okay.
But all right, so there's another word of French origin.
Brilliant.
Now, I say this one wrong. Naivete.
Yeah, right. I say naivety.
Yeah, I say naivety. I'll even say naivety. But that's someone that's a word that even most people over here pronounce correctly, the French pronunciation. They say naivete.
Oh,
but I go naivety.
Fancy with it.
Like I'll drop the T and make it a D sound even.
Okay.
Anyway, all right. So I was discussing this with Taylor, our good friend Taylor. We know Taylor.
Does Taylor speak French?
She said on Twitter that she's a French speaker.
That's awesome.
I mean, she's taking French. Yes. All right. So anyway, she wanted to know how you say certain Spanish words. So I'm going to put this in the chat.
Oh, Spanish is going to be a shambles.
Yeah.
Because I don't speak Spanish. Our language, the British language, does not have much Spanish words in it. Whereas, I don't know if you've heard of the Normans. They were a thing. that they
Right.
came over. That happened. In fact, not to my mom's maiden name has a bit of a Norman origin.
Really?
To that point, yeah, I'm not
So
gonna
you
put that out there because it's quite a unique name. So
so you might have
maybe.
some Viking blood in you then. Some Viking French blood.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And my dad's side, my granddad has like this finger condition, which is a Viking thing.
Really? Very interesting.
Yeah, be good if I could remember the exact thing. Okay, so Spanish. This is gonna be like, have you heard of Benidorm?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's occasionally like a great video of loads of Brits abroad at Benidorm, and they're watching like horse racing while on holiday, all drinking pints of lager.
Nice.
Um, yeah, there's gonna be like a Brit at Benidorm. I could even do that type of accent. Um,
Say
okay,
it.
so paella.
You pronounce the L's, isn't it paella?
Well, yes, in Spanish. You told me to pronounce it how I pronounce it. Am I in Valencia ordering paella, which I believe is where you get a good one. Although when I went to Valencia, it's quite hard to find that. So
That's funny to me though that you guys pronounce it with the L's because the dish paella is, even though we have proximity to Spanish speakers just like you
yes,
do,
you do. You have that advantage.
but the word but paella is actually of Spanish origin.
Yes,
It's not, Central
yes,
South American origin.
right. But this is my point. You're more familiar with pronouncing these
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Spanish words,
I see what you're saying.
even though obviously Mexican Spanish or Central American Spanish does differ to the Spanish in some pronunciations, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. Okay, let's keep this going. Let's stretch this out more.
We're only doing this because Taylor's a friend of the show. I just want
Right.
to clarify that,
So
okay? Because this is upsetting.
Brendan Myers in the chat, how do you pronounce that word that he just typed?
Well, Brendan, that is a very good question. Now, I've only ever had one of these in America, right? In New Mexico. And so I
Really?
would say,
You've
what?
never had them in Britain? You
Well,
can't
I've tried to
find
make them, but like, yeah,
a proper one.
who's cooking? I mean, maybe at like a bad, like British type, Mexican type chain thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's a quesadilla. So I'm not saying
Okay,
the
good.
L's because
Good.
I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. Now how about thank you in Spanish? I don't even need to type that one, do I?
Well, I would never, ever, ever have reason to say thank you in Spanish unless I was in Spain. Would I?
Okay, but still say it.
Well, it depends how much I want to blend in. You could even add the th, couldn't you? You'd be like,
I mean,
gracias.
it's just why wait, why are you trying to blend in Spain? Gracias. Gracias.
Well, in certain parts of Spain, the C is a th.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, that's right. I remember Ty educating me on that. Okay. That was fun.
Yeah, that was great. I loved that. Chat, I hope you enjoyed that one.
All right. Bang, hit it. Hit it, Matty.
Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, where Griff and I are finishing our look at the 2024 NFL draft class for the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to look, finally, at the 6th round pick from John Schneider's crop, which is offensive lineman Sataoa Laumea out of Utah. He's a guy who's played some right guard. He's played some right tackle. In Seattle, he's mainly working as a right guard. We're going to look at his Senior Bowl, where I've got a cut up of that. If we have time, we may be able to look at him against high quality of opposition, given he did play in the Pac-12, RIP. Now, Griff, it's a 6th round pick here. And in the thumbnail, I put day 3 starter question mark. That really little peek behind the curtain, guys. I think that's an unfair expectation. I think you don't want to, it's a kind of a developmental pick. But when John Schneider spoke on drafting Laumea, he mentioned how it was a guy who kept falling, and they at a certain point had to take him. I mean, Dane Brugler's The Athletic Draft Guide, they had him with a 4th round grade. I know Brandon Thorne had him slightly higher as well. So, 6th round pick, Griff. What you? Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about this one? I believe you gave it a B. Did you?
Yeah, he probably could have gone a round higher, maybe 2 rounds higher if you're really reaching. He really doesn't have the foot speed to be like a right tackle in the NFL as a pass protector, but that's exactly why you take those kinds of guys and move them inside. He can absolutely move people in the run game. I think he has the play strength to anchor against power moves. I think we should still view him as a development. I won't say a project because he has a high floor for this type of concept of a player, but more as a developmental guy. And it'd be cool if, he enters the guard mix competition. I think Haynes has right guard locked down, but also backup guards seem to play a lot of snaps in Seattle recently. So as far along as he can get, the better, I'd say.
Yeah, and so, as I said, we're going to look at the tape, but if you look at his background, he started 5 games in 2020 at right guard, 13 games in 2021 at right guard again, and then 2022 and 2023, he started all of Utah's games as a right tackle. But the reason that you have this conversation about moving him back into right guard and why Seattle's been working him there most of the time is really his issues with, wider sets and kind of oversetting them and not being good on inside moves and not really staying square very well. Just kind of better suiting guard. That being said, at the Senior Bowl, he got caught high and lunging, and we're talking about a guy who is 23, turned 23 in January, but he's an old guy, a 5th-year senior, so not one of these super seniors, but he's an older prospect as well. So it's a cool prospect, and there's some good things that happen at the Senior Bowl, no doubt. But we just have to give this context because, we kind of temper expectations here, and not only that, he had an incomplete testing. He had a limited workout at his pro day after a left calf strain, and then at the combine, he only did the vertical jump where he jumped 36 inches. Not a good jump. He jumped the broad 8 for 8 inches, which is a bit better, and he had 26 reps on the bench, which is solid for an offensive lineman. The other factor to him is he's 6'4", basically 33-inch long arms. So and 319 pounds. So he's a big guard. He's fitting that NFL size that Seattle desires and the length that Seattle desires. So all important stuff. Chat, as Griff goes off the stream, presumably dog related, what are you hoping to see from Laumea? And what was your impressions of the pick at the time? How did you feel about it? Let us know. And if you're watching on the recap or you're listening on the audio, and on the audio, tweet us. Griff's on Twitter at CMikeSpinMove. I'm on Twitter at Matty F Brown. Or if you're rewatching on the YouTube, please do comment. It would be great to have more comments in the comment section. We appreciate them. Should also say, actually, before we get to the tape, the context of the situation for Laumea coming in is Seattle was lacking guards. Obviously, they lost Phil Haynes, they lost Damian Lewis, but Laumea's path to playing time is now kind of tight in that there's a second-year Anthony Bradford, the fourth-round pick last season. He's still at the right guard spot. Then there's the third-round rookie, Christian Haynes, who Seattle drafted, and he is primarily a right guard. And then you've got guys who could play right guard if Abraham Lucas is able to return healthy at right tackle. In George Fant has experience there. Curtis McClendon's actually been the first string guy working there in these OTA periods. And I believe Tremaine Ankrum could possibly do some stuff there in a pinch as well. So it's a kind of, in terms of making the roster, that's really kind of what we're talking about with Laumea. And he'll need to beat out a couple of names there, Griff.
Agreed. I kind of like the backup, at least the backup interior group. It's interesting. There's some real, I don't know. There's some real heartbeat going on there. So curious to see how that takes shape over time.
Yeah, and ultimately when you have that real heartbeat, you are hoping, and there's no reason that it won't happen, but one player will emerge ahead of all of them and suddenly it's looking a bit better. But yeah, the lack of that top guy right now means it's all kind of to play for.
Indeed.
Right. So the Senior Bowl. Now, Griff, you can kind of stop me when you see something that you feel is worth highlighting. We can kind of skip the indie period. I don't think we're sick enough to do that, or are we?
Maybe not.
Maybe. Okay. There's a lot of
there's some value to it.
Right, like here you're seeing foot fire, stay square, reactive athleticism hands, not getting too wide with the base, being controlled. This is outside zone kind of drill where we're trying to scoop combos. So scoop the 3-tech and then climb up to the backer.
Staying square too.
Yeah.
Especially on the last rep.
This is, I don't really.
Moving forward, he's definitely a quote unquote mover. Like he's fluid and coordinated, honestly.
Yeah, he's got good quickness, right?
Yeah. But it doesn't seem to translate when he's moving backwards or when he's pass setting.
Yeah, he's better. He's more of like a jump set type guard, which I think is more of like a viable approach, particularly when the center's sliding to him, right? So he kind of knows he has that help to his inside.
Yeah. It's also just a different game being on the edge versus being inside. Just how you, even if regardless of what your traits are, like mentally, you're relating to space in very different ways and relating to the rusher at a distance.
So annoyingly in this footage, there's quite a few guys with red helmets, and there's also an Illinois guy with an orange helmet with a white stripe down it. So Laumea is this guy, dark red, white stripe down it, and there'll be a tinge of like a white circle on the side of his helmet for the Utah logo. And he also has a white face cage. So that's just something, because I haven't got a spotlight on him every time to pay attention for. There's the annoying Illinois guy. Here's Laumea.
He's not a leaner.
What does that mean, Griff?
His pads don't like spill over his cylinder. He's
as a run blocker.
Yeah.
Going forward, he's really not. He's quite impressive.
He keeps his center of gravity.
Right. Right.
That's pretty good, keeping his post foot square on the handling the looper. Passes off the stunter, transitions to the looper. That's like picture perfect right there. Granted, it's a drill, but
Yeah. Yeah, he's just the guy you want going forward, and I imagine they feel, hey, the last time you played right guard was 2 years ago. In a game. So let's just
yeah,
coach you back up on the pass pro there, and it'll all look good. So a lot of these one-on-ones are going to look quite rough. Dorless in particular caused him issues. He did well against is that Ruke or Rororo?
yeah. You know, Dorless is also the body type that is designed to dominate in one-on-ones. Also, though,
True.
because of the frame, and play style.
But here you see a jump set. So he got push pulled quite a bit.
Yeah. It's pretty rough, honestly.
Yeah. So just two hands low leaves you in a position where you are liable to get them both knocked down at the same time, right?
Yeah. I
He
mean,
tries to
honestly,
reset.
he looks like a 3 technique there, not a guard.
Well, that's interesting you say that because he actually, again, per Dane Brugler's The Beast guide, he actually played in high school as a defensive tackle.
That's not surprising at all. Honestly, that makes perfect sense. I
So,
mean, that
go
that
ahead.
that that's where that squatty explosiveness comes from in the run game. That totally makes sense.
So now playing his more familiar right tackle.
So yeah, I'm curious how Huff will coach him because Huff let Fatanu like kind of do what he wants as a pass setter because he had the talent to. I wonder with Laumea, granted that he's playing guard, does he kind of just give him like very strict like one-on-one? Because here, what I'm getting at here is that like he oversets horizontally. It's not a jump set, but he's just gaining way too much width. I think.
Yeah, and that was his issue on the college tape as well. Like, anytime he gets the wide angle, he's just oversetting
Right.
it with his width.
As far as foot speed, though, I mean, he actually looks fairly quick-footed
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
It's like technique and approach.
And I don't know enough about Utah's O line to know if that's like how they coach it, because obviously that Utah offense is very kind of spread out in when they go drop back pass, right?
Yeah,
So perhaps there's a kind of college scheme to NFL thing going on there as well.
could be. Even though like these are rough reps, I mean, he has all the traits to be a proficient guard, I think, in all phases. But it's just very much about embracing the concept that he is developmental. That was a decent rep. Now that's a jump set where it works for him, right? Where he can actually get into their pads first and disrupt their.
Like grab the bicep.
And look at how he replaces the right hand.
Mm.
That's pretty violent there. That's pretty. I mean, but if he comes out trying to do that against NFL 3 techniques, it's going to look ugly early on.
Yeah. Brandon, we said this, but he turned 23 in January. Okay, that's not even his rep. Is this the jump set again?
It seems more like just a standard.
Yeah, standard.
His hands though are he's catching them.
Yeah,
Like I
which
mean
is giving when you're
that,
catching, you're giving up your chest, right?
yeah. You want your hands inside their hands. But granted, that's a really good get off from the. Is that Randolph? It's a
I
really
think
good get
so.
off from the 3 tech.
I guess this shows his anchor to recover, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which that anchor shows up as kind of the foundation of his jump sets too, right? Oh, again, just getting really wide and turning. That's not good angles.
No. Now there he's leaning.
And this is why you have the discussion about him not being a right tackle.
It's just interesting that as a mover, he's so controlled coming downhill, and then he's just like, not even like technique wise, but just, I mean, yes, technique wise coming downhill, but just how he moves, before you even get into technique, just movement skills. He's so controlled and comfortable coming downhill, but it's moving laterally. It doesn't feel as intuitive for him almost.
Right.
The hand placement is screwing it.
The hand placement's off, so he gets just stabbed down the chest.
Yeah. Well, he just wants to beat them up and right away, but he doesn't have a conservative mindset at all, and it's totally
Right, it's
screwing
almost an
himself over.
impatience here. Now, I should say as well, one-on-one caveat, and when it came to the game situations that we're going to see, I feel there's a bit better because you're not going out to just try and dominate a rep. You're just playing football. I feel he did a bit better.
Yeah, that's good.
So here, this is a gap double. Pretty solid.
Yep. See, he feels the tackle knock him into the gap, and like intuitively, he just continues to rotate him back into the A gap or over into the A gap. Like he's just so natural, like that's seamless. That you know what I mean?
Sticking onto the sticking onto the contact, the sort of reacting to how that guy gets moved and finishing through with like the forearm.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is pretty good quickness. Not a good rep from the.
No. If we consider though the linebacker's alignment is what in a 40i, like a 4i but 40 because second level is
Loose.
maybe a loose 30.
No, that's a 20, right?
Oh yeah, my bad. I'm looking at the guard, not the tackle. My bad. Yeah. So the point being though is the linebacker is already leveraged horizontally to his advantage, right? And Laumea ends up closing that and gets front side on him,
Yeah, and
effectively
he's quick
reaching.
going.
And like you said, a better rep from the linebacker probably doesn't happen, but it's just he kind of takes the initiative, and ends up washing him out of the play.
Down block. That's pretty physical. It's an
Yeah.
RPO, but physical. Good hand placement here as well. Some knockback here. Kind of shoving him out. It kind of gets him in the B almost. All right, so some pass downs. So this is the stuff we've seen. The one-on-ones was everything. Day 1, day 2, day 3. This stuff is day 1. So right now we've got him a right guard. Now just because it's pass downs, that doesn't mean they're not going to run the football. So this is kind of an aiming point thing. I mean, they're in a new environment where they're running. It's kind of a weird thing, but he kind of had the guy, and then he kind of reaches. Doesn't have his feet there.
Yeah, kind of an odd.
That he thinks the back is going to go back door, even though it's wide action.
Kind of a strange rep, huh?
It's very odd, yeah. Especially after what we saw the first time. Gets too square. Okay, so some pass pro. So he's to the center slide. That's I don't know what's going on here. Gets tripped at the end. That's a weird rep. To the center, away from the slide. That's
It's not. That's not good. That's rough. That's pretty bad. Oh, he steps on the center.
They keep the chemistry between these two is obviously a bit rough.
Yeah.
He's doing the right thing of trying to foot fire into the guy while staying square, but yeah, the step doesn't help. Gap double again. That's pretty nice. Securing the Why does he pop up? Again, is he stepping on his guy? Oh, he gets stepped on this time.
Yeah, no, he's on the receiving end of it.
Okay. All right, so this is day 2 stuff. So that's kind of the jump set in action, but the way he's jump setting, his hand placement is really giving up his chest, right? He's sort of just giving the chest to the guys without really connecting in the way he'd like with his hands.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see it from this angle.
Setting to a 2-eye is really tough. I think that's a decent rep.
It's okay, right? He doesn't get stepped on. He kind of gets caught.
Although that's probably... It's good. Cool. It's decent enough recovery after he gets a little lifted.
You think they call holding towards the end? I guess it's a rip through or a swing through, so probably not. That's a tough look.
That's yikes. Well, so what goes wrong here?
Wide angle, I think, is the issue. It's the wide angle, and then how he's trying to jump to the guy, but his base is really wide now because he's really trying one big step out here. That's you're not really getting much power into the guy, and you're also kind of missing. Your aiming point's kind of off.
Yeah.
And again, guys, this is why we gave the context of it's a 6th round pick.
Yeah, and it's just like a perfectly landed club swim from the 3 technique.
Right. Which is clearly which dog is that impressing, Griff?
That's Brady.
Brady.
He's always got a problem. Brady, what's
Brady,
wrong with you?
Brady knows. Oh, Brady's upset by the club swims. And here I thought your dogs would be into pass rush.
Yeah.
There's no need to be. He's really wide in his play. But I guess he's to the slide, so he knows about that.
He really doesn't have a bread and butter in protection. That's the unfortunate thing.
Right. And that's a tough job being left to try and reach blocker 1. Don't know if the center should have done that. That seems more of a center issue where he's got to help here. That's tough. Oh, well, that's a great rep of. You can see how he's a bit more patient with his play and keeping his chest clean, and he connects with his left arm and then his right. And once he's clamped on like that, there is an anchor strength and ability there in the jump set.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I mean, Griff mentioned him lacking that bread and butter, and I would kind of agree. But this is about as close as we're going to get to it.
Yeah. Inside hands, right?
Yeah, I'm good kind of working with the way that the rusher tries to work back outside. We'll see a reverse angle here. So watch this left arm with the left foot. Good latching on and 2-arm kind of grab.
Yep.
Clamp.
So like when he does land his hands first before the other guy does, it looks all right. It tends to look all right.
Yeah, he has some power.
We have to keep in mind, like he's barely played guard, right? And he's with, a new environment, fish out of water.
It's when he gets that. No, he played guard his first 2 years, Griff.
True. No, you did say that. And I did know that, actually. I knew he had played guard before, but that's a lot of guard snaps.
Yeah.
It's a lot of guard snaps to be that underdeveloped. I don't know. Maybe being a year out of practice, but I don't know.
Or 2 years, actually.
2 years out of practice.
I think, his issues really seem to be when guys would quickly stab him down the chest before he'd had a chance to kind of, connect.
Yeah.
And he'd just be left kind of grasping the outside while getting bull rushed. Or push pulled. Okay, so a bit of a struggle here. Again, just so wide in his aiming point. So he's got a down block, guys, and he's trying to down block here so we can get these pullers around and get this guy out of the picture.
He just overshoots, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think this nose plan 2 eye understands what's coming formation
Right.
indicator wise. Like it's very
Right.
obvious that they're gonna pull and pull, but
I think that's Randolph. That Iowa line is really, or Indiana line is really clued in.
it looks like a Clemson
Illinois.
helmet.
Illinois. Oh, is that Clemson? I thought that was Illinois. You're right.
Anyway, good to know about the Illinois line.
Well, we watched them. It's not like we didn't watch Illinois.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's just when you said Indiana, it threw me.
I said Iowa, then I said
Why are you
Indiana.
watching Indiana defense tape? That's sick. No offense. Are they the Hoosiers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hoosiers.
the Hoosiers.
Man, he completely. I mean, it's slide protection, right? But is that doorless working all the way back with ease?
Yeah, I think he thought he was almost throwing Dorless out of the club, and he just got Dorless just swiped him off.
Yeah. Although, is this a screen?
Yeah, it's a it looks like a throwback screen.
So it's kind of, they kind of want the D line to do that, right?
Yeah, I guess it doesn't
It's
matter.
kind of a nothing rep in either direction.
Cool, kind of backside seal hinge.
Yeah.
But you can see towards the end how guys started getting his chest and then pulling him. Like push pulls were really a thing.
Right.
Man, this center is not even chipping. That's a tough block. If they're hitting that up the A gap, that's a tough block. Is that on the back? Surely the back should be going here. I guess he gets scared about this front side. I mean, the way to kill duo is front side penetration, like we get here. Well, but still, I don't know. Surely he should be hitting that up here, Griff.
He has a better chance doing that anyway.
What makes him? He's trying to cut back duo.
I think he just sees that gap, but that's fool's gold because of what happens.
Yeah, that's a college back basically. Yeah, it would have been nice to see how this plays out if the back runs it, how it's designed. It's interesting though how 91 gets lower. Good talking. Watching guards, I have a lot of admiration for people who watch guards all the time. I don't know how. I mean, a very important position. But
So he's getting walked here.
Man.
So he's leaning again. Like right there, you're losing all power. Even if you land your hands, you're losing power. He's just trying to latch on, and then he gets himself steered. He's letting the 3-tech steer him.
Yeah, reverse angle here.
It's like he needs to do those drills where you tie your hands behind your back.
One just practice being in a good foot to body relationship.
Yeah, we're with your hips sunk and your feet moving in the right direction.
Because I mean, what I know he's 6'4", but how wide is that base right now as well? He's
Well, he kind of stands up after.
he
Yeah,
kind of stands up, right? Yeah.
strange.
Hmm.
I mean, he has no problem sinking like athletically. Like it all seems like technique.
Okay. So some of these right tackle reps where it gets a bit rough.
Yeah, man, he's just overreaching. I mean, good recovery, right? But
Yeah.
he's losing at the point of engagement. That's that's not great. So, I mean, Scott Huff has his work cut out for him, but it's a case of there being real potential because I think the traits again are there.
Yeah, you can see the vision. You can see how the traits, the build. I think the attitude in terms of he's wanting to be physical,
Yeah,
and like I've said, if you search his name on YouTube, one of the first things which comes up is a pancake reel. He can be a nasty type of player. Um,
yeah.
he kind of brings that physicality that Seattle spoke about, desiring and wanting.
hmm
Yeah, he can violently move dudes. I think the Senior Bowl for him was a bit disappointing compared to what he'd shown in college. And there could be a whole host of reasons for that, but I think that's another reason that he went in the 6th round.
Right. I think he does a good job there.
Yeah, that was okay.
I always like to watch the inside foot, the post foot on inside counters. It's fairly. I mean, he tries to keep that angle as flat as possible to slide back, to shuffle back.
Yep, and quite a wide step to try jump set again and rising up, but
hmm
a good feet to recover. Yeah, his foot speeds, as
Yeah.
you said, interesting.
Like I take back my initial criticism when he lost the edge in college playing right tackle. It's purely because of technique. It's not. It's really not traits.
So down the line, could Laumea be a guy who, you clean up these things and then you go, hey, you've got right tackle in your background. You do, maybe your arms they were an eighth of an inch shorter than 33 inches at the combine, and then at his pro day they were 33 inches. But could he possibly be, a swing tackle type player, or just a right tackle depth option who they work on? I know Huff and Grubb, they kind of spoke about working guys at multiple spots, and yeah, it could be something that we see,
Yeah, it could be.
given the traits are there, but it's more the technique aspects, and then how the technique aspects are even stark, even more of a problem when you're out in so much space.
Yeah. So here's not a good rep working. See right there, man. Like he's just screwing himself over.
He's like a starfish.
Yeah, I don't know why he feels the need to.
Give his chest so much
Yeah, and like to get his hands in the guys right there,
and
like
so
he's.
wide. Yeah, it's the Baylor dude working him.
It's ironic because he has the foot speed to keep up with guys. It's like he panics and goes, "I need to disrupt their timing."
Right. Which again,
Like
coaching,
right off the snap, but he doesn't need to do that. He does it again there, but he lands
you
the
get
hands.
yeah, you get away with it because the hands almost land inside. But if you pause it, well, just before that, there was the almost wide hands to strike. It's almost like when striking, his hands need to be tighter
Well,
as he
it's fun.
strikes.
Yeah, right. He needs to be like flowing up because even if he lands them, there's no power coming
But
through.
why are his hands this wide?
Like he's it's almost like he's slapping them in the shoulder pads as opposed to his elbows staying tucked and firing up. Like he has reps of that where the elbow's tucked and the hand replaces like
Is
an upward motion.
is it his defensive tackle thing where he's trying to grab cloth rather than strike?
Could be, but you think he's so far removed from that, right?
You would think.
But it's like when your elbows are tucked and your arms come up, like you're it's not just your arms and shoulders, it's your whole hip extension, your whole body's exerting power. When he does the thing where he leans and his hands come out to his side, it's just there's absolutely no strength coming through with that.
So here it works because he's turned into the guy and the guy takes a wide path, so then his hand is down the chest of the guy
Yeah.
to the slide.
That's pretty good looking there. He's a little more patient, like he draws the hands out a tick later than he normally does.
Right.
Like he reads the rush.
Yep.
He also kind of stays in with his hips relatively sunk too.
Yeah,
So,
there's less standing up.
so he doesn't leave his base. When he doesn't leave his base and his hands don't shoot early and when they do shoot, they land inside. I mean, honestly, he looks fine. It's almost like if you just put together a cut up of his good reps, or a cut up of his reps where he doesn't give up pressure, you'd see good technique. So it's just like rally around your good tape and expand that sample. Whereas some other guys, you could put together a cut up of their reps where they don't give up pressure, and there isn't necessarily good technique always. But good technique correlates with a good rep for him, and that's not always to be said about every late round guy, right? So it's almost like a Jekyll and Hyde thing with him.
Yeah, like that's solid. Although it's kind of getting out of his frame again with how high and wide he gets to try and jump this guy.
But then his feet save him.
But his feet, that's a feet example, isn't it? Where he got away with it, and then his feet can help him recover after that point.
So he's an interesting watch, isn't he? Because of all the duality going on.
You can see how, and I know he has a voice. I believe the John P. Boyle piece inside the Seahawks Draft Dream spoke about it. But you can see how someone like Steve Hutchinson can be like, yeah, this guy, we can coach him up to be an NFL lineman. Like there's stuff here. It's just the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Does some nice displacement and feet drive blocking.
Yep.
Because he doesn't really get helped by his center. Center falls over, gets tripped. So, chat, what is your verdict on what we've seen? Are you agreeing with what we're saying and what we're seeing? I'd be intrigued to know because I imagine most of you won't have seen this tape before. So, Let us know your thoughts. Rick saying, glad you said developmental. He needs to be quicker overall. Yeah, Rick, I think, I think the quickness, as we've said, with the foot speed, I think that's okay. It's more the other stuff. Kind of oversetting again. He seems to really like trying to connect with his left hand as the hand which is gonna be his main clamp, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if that's why he's always getting so wide in his set against wide rushes, because he's trying to connect that left hand.
That makes sense.
And then from there and maybe that's because he's worried about the right hand getting knocked down and then getting beat around the arc. But you get reps like this where he's almost turning to try and he's overset, and then yeah, I mean that's a pressure, right?
Yeah.
So that's again really trying to land hands and then work from there, and it's just missing on a guy who is at it's a tight angle because he's going down onto the nose, but it's a similar issue to when a guy is set wide on him on the other side, where his aiming point suddenly got to be a bit different, and he can get a beat. So, Griff, what were you hoping to see from this tape? You mentioned how your opinion of him at right tackle's changed after watching this, and the kind of issues you saw on the college stuff. You kind of changed the diagnosis for them.
I think I'm more impressed with his trait profile than I was before. He's not just like a downhill bruiser, like athletically speaking. I do think he has the traits to be decent in protection, because I think the lateral fluidity and the foot quickness, the foot fire is there. I just think his technique is really inconsistent. So again, yeah, he's a developmental guy, but I am intrigued by him. I think, year 2, year 3, I don't know, maybe he pops. I think there's real potential there. If he was more clean technique wise, and say he played only guard, he has the pedigree, the profile to be like a 4th round pick.
Right, which is where some people had him projected, as we've said, yeah.
So
what happens here? Gets knocked out by his own guy. Tackle knocks him over. And he got the touchdown, so. And it's another example of I'm really wanting to see what Scott Huff coaches these guys with the technique stuff, just because it's the first time we'll have seen it. And what does his stuff look like in the NFL? Exactly the same as all the other, the entirely new coaching staff. But where we'll see that show up the most is with the rookies, who we've got an idea about their skill set, and we've gained an idea from all the film study we've been doing on this channel. But we then need to see how their technique translates and what they're being coached. So that's really it.
Yeah. So I don't know, as a 6th round pick goes, I'm fairly fascinated,
Right. Right. I mean, and like for a guard, which not to denigrate guards as a profession, but it's not the first thing you're going to be paying attention to
No,
probably when watching the preseason games. However, on the All-22, you will stick that on and we'll be like, huh, that's interesting,
rather interesting. Rather interesting.
isn't it?
Yep.
Right, Griff. Well, chat, if you got any questions, please do ask them. And now is the time for that. We will be back on Thursday with a recap of all of the Seahawks organized team activities. We've already done 2 of them. As I said in the preamble, we have Ryan Grubb giving a lot of details about the offense and speaking on Geno Smith. We also have Adam Dirty and Jay Harbaugh, the other 2 coordinators, speaking. And then there's some OTA videos. There's Mike McDonald mic'd up, which I know a lot of people have been on at us about breaking down, which we could do a bit of that. We could. And there'll be some Seahawks news. We also need to have a discussion, Griff, of will John Schneider pay DK Metcalf? It's an interesting topic given how paid receivers are getting around the league. Justin Jefferson just got absolutely capitalized, all caps, paid. So
that'll be a fun topic to discuss.
Famously, or perhaps infamously, left him out of our top 5 Seahawks. So check that out if you haven't. That was a previous Seattle Overload
I don't
episode.
think that will age well. But
if it's okay, we said the cool thing about a top 5 is in a year's time there could be a lot of different names in it. So it's okay. It was our current top 5.
In this
I'm
moment,
sure the internet won't remember.
If a game was played today, that would be my top 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if any of those guys are injured right now.
Owosu.
Yeah, great.
Well, I mean, he's
brilliant.
basically
Well
100%.
Done. Well done. You're gonna put a dodgy peck out there.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Matty, have you watched Master and Commander yet?
No, I haven't.
Interesting. How about Children of Men?
I'm not familiar. This way saying, agree with you guys. Laumea needs better hand placement and struggles with speed to power guys, and in my opinion, needs to be light on his feet in the run game. Yeah, that's a good point. This way, the feet were quite ploddy in the run game, but he's a big dude. So okay. Well, please do follow Griff on Twitter at CMikeSpinMove. Follow me at Matty F. Brown. Follow the pod at Seattle Overload to know exactly when we're going live, although sometimes it's not exactly. But anyway, get the link as well to the live stream. Thank you, those of you in the chat, for joining in. Taylor, I hope you enjoyed the pronunciation preamble. If you're an audio listener, please give us a 5-star review. And all of you, like the video and share it with a friend, a community, whatnot, because it helps us grow. We're enjoying doing it. So the more of you who are in here, the better. And that would be lovely. Thank you very much. Griff, closing wisdom?
None. No. Never.